This also includes the DLC fix for PS4 fake
which
packages.
means you can install your PS4 DLC as fake packages normally,
just like you do on PS4.
And the DLC content should be available when you load the game.
Whereas previously,
it had to be packed and patched as part of the update
in
file.
order to get it to work.
That was kind of a bug for quite a while,
but that issue has now been resolved as well.
So we have all of those fixes,
as well as being able to run our PS5
for
game
fake
packages
up to
firmware 9.00. Now, of course, this also means that a lot more
5 game
dumps are going to be available and
on
playable
these higher firmwares.
So we've got games going up to sort of late 2020 for that are now playable, like Silent Hill Remake and Baldur's Gate 3,
and many others that are now supported.
Whether or not you should update
really
comes down to your own personal preference.
Obviously, there are arguments for staying on
like
older
getting
firmwares
access to more complete exploits
and being able to do
like
things,
maybe run Linux on the console in future.
And then, of course,
there's reasons to update to be able to access more
but
games.
of course, at the end of the
really
day,
depends on what you value more.
And you also
have to bear in mind that once you go past firmware
you can
5.50,
no longer use the web browser to run the jailbreak.
And once you go past 7.61,
you can no longer use the Blu-ray exploit to jailbreak the console.
And you have to use the Japanese games with the Louis
on
exploit
8.00 and
but
higher.
you can always update using a USB drive to any specific firmware.
But I don't want to try and push you in any particular
so obviously
direction.
it is up to you guys on what you decide to do here.
Now, technically,
the PS5 is jailbreakable up to firmware 10.01.
but we don't have case stuff support up to 10.01
Although
yet.
hopefully, fingers crossed,
we will be able to get case stuff support up to that firmware.
we just don't know what kind of
things in the firmware that PlayStation might have changed
to make it more difficult for K
stuff to get ported on those higher firmwares.
So we'll have to wait and see if it can be ported up to 10.01.
But 10.01 is definitely the highest
that
firmware
we can essentially jailbreak,
because the LOPS kernel exploit was patched after that point.
So of course with PS4,
we got the release of GoldHEN version to point for B18.6 from Sistro,
and
this version adds a few new features, especially a couple of ones for people using the Blu-ray
we have
exploit.
a new
Enable BD app auto kill option in the settings, and this option will just close the disc player automatically once GoldHEN has loaded. So once you've used the Blu-ray exploit to actually load,
it will
the
just
jailbreak,
immediately close it automatically
so you
for
can get up and running with the jailbreak faster
instead of having to close it manually.
Definitely a handy feature. It also has an enable auto eject feature, which can be used to auto eject the Blu-ray disc after you've loaded the exploit successfully. So that's another option.
It will automatically close the
and
disc
then
player.
eject the disc as well. Not a feature I would really
But it's
use,
there
for anybody who wants it.
So that is what's been added
We
there.
also have a new plugin update feature in the plugin
So
settings.
you can
update the plugins online from the official
and
repo.
just
download all of the latest
directly
plugins
on
GoldHEN itself, instead of having to use the PS4 Cheats
Also,
Manager.
if
you're offline, you have local ways to install the plugins. By copying the plugin zip file to a USB
or to the
drive, internal hard drive on the data folder. And it can allow you to update from those locations as well, not just from the internet. So that's the option there. And it also has now the AIO fix as a toggleable option. So you can enable and disable that plugin, which fixes the black screen and save data corruption issues. That is also built in there. So those are your new options that have been added there in this version of GoldHEN. Now, in order to install
you're
using the normal Blu-ray exploit from GoldHEN, or if you're using my audio version, which includes the older version of GoldHEN on the disc, then in order to update all you have to do is simply download the latest version of Open up the 7-zip file using 7-zip, and then you can simply extract the GoldHEN file to the root of a USB and rename it to payload.bin. And then simply plug that into your PS4. And then when you load the Blu-ray disc, it will automatically load up the one from the USB, and it will copy it to the hard drive. So that the next time you want to load the Blu-ray disc and jailbreak the console again, you will not need the USB drive plugged in with the payload. It will just load the updated one that was copied to the hard drive from the hard drive, and you're up and running every time you load the Blu-ray disc. It will load the latest GoldHEN payload B18.6. So if you're using the official repo or my audio version, that's the way that you can update GoldHEN without having to burn a new disc. Now, if you are burning a disc for the first time, I have released an updated version all-in-one version of the ISO. That does now include B18.6 on the
so
disc.
it can load it from the disc directly
if you're loading it for the first time.
But if you're using that version,
and you have like an older version of GoldHEN
already on the hard drive,
it will still prioritize that one. So you're still best to update it with a USB or simply just delete the payload .bin from the data folder to get rid of that older version.
so it will load the updated one from the disc.
So anyway,
Those are your options there for getting things up
with
and
GoldHEN
running.
now, something that also applies for PS4 and PS5
5
is that the Lua loader now has another officially supported title.
So we've got a Area Life. So Kusa 17122. So that's another Japanese game
that can be used to load the Lua version of the exploit
to jailbreak the PS4 or PS5.
It's an alternative method to using the Blu-ray disc,
and it does have at least one advantage over the Blu-ray method.
Well, two
really. One advantage is that it loads a lot faster because
It takes longer to load up a Blu-ray disc than it does
the game
to
loaded to
save
run.
the auto Lua loader runs faster.
So that is one benefit.
But the other main benefit is that you don't require the asynchronous.
IO fix the AI0 fix that.
That fixes the black screen and save data corruption
because
issues.
the Lua version of the exploit
that's loaded with the Japanese games
does not have that issue.
There's no patch required to fix the black screen and save
data corruption issues.
because you don't have black screen or save data corruption
when
issues.
loading the jailbreak from the Lua exploit from the save file with these Japanese games.
So the other interesting thing here is
a lot of these games are now in stock. They were out of stock for a long time.
But
places like PlayAsia and CD Japan, they are kind of back in stock.
A lot of these games, a lot of it
because
is
there's not people trying to pick up these
to jailbreak
games
their PS4
when they
South,
can use a Blu-ray
which
disc,
is easier. But if you're on a PS5
and you're looking to jailbreak your PS5,
it's a good idea to get your hands on one of these games because,
of course, on firmwares above 7.61, the only way we can jailbreak the PS5
this
is Lua
using
exploit right
and
now.
this userland exploit
works all the way up to the latest
on the
PS4
firmwares.
and PS5.
So still definitely worth getting a copy of one of these games,
especially since they're not in as high demand as they were
just a few weeks ago.
We also have a new build of etaHEN
version
that was
2.3b by Lightning Mods,
and this version has a bunch of additional features.
We have a new display title IDs on home screen on retail consoles.
So this option in the etaHEN settings menu, you can toggle that
and
on.
then all of your applications will show the title ID label
above them now.
This is very handy
when
for
you're trying to find certain game patches
or DLC or cheats. You need to know what title ID of the game you have,
because there's different versions of a game for the European
Japanese version, US version. Certain special editions of the games will have a different title ID.
And then you can't mix and match different patches for
the wrong title ID, they will not install.
So you need to make sure you're matching the title
ID with any additional
or
content
patches or cheats that you're installing.
So being able to just see the title
ID there directly above the game is very handy.
So that's a feature there that you can toggle on
you
and
also
off.
have another feature you can toggle
which is
on
the
and off,
etaHEN cheats option,
which is called the game options in the settings. So you can enable that option,
and then when you press the options button on one of your games,
it will show up with the etaHEN cheats at the top.
And if you select that option,
it will list all of the available cheats for that title, so that you can just quickly at a glance
see what cheats are available for a specific
without
game
having to launch it.
But when you do launch the game,
you can also use that menu
to also toggle the cheats on and off when the game is running.
So you have that feature added as well. Now we also have an auto disk eject feature that's been added. So just like on PS4 with GoldHEN, it will auto eject the disc after etaHEN loads
up.
So that's another feature.
And we also have support for payloads.
Ls in the plugins menu for etaHEN.
So you can load normal L files,
normal payloads as plugins in etaHEN, instead of having to modify them or convert them into a plugin
so
file.
you can take any of your normal
like
payloads,
AirSex or the web server payload, for instance. And then you can just load them from within etaHEN,
or even set them to start up when etaHEN loads.
So
you can have everything loaded by the time you have etaHEN
So this
launched.
version of etaHEN also has the fake package
because it
DLC
also adds
fix.
an updated version of KStuff with
0 and
8.20
support doesn't have 8.40 Although it does have support for
support
those
added.
firmwares with the toolbox,
Which means you can load the toolbox separately with K stuff
then
disabled.
load the new version of
Stuff
K
that
supports up to 8.60
so that you can still get the etaHEN experience
and without having the updated case stuff actually built
And
in.
then
we also have things like the PS5
Debug
being updated with 7.xx support
and a few other fixes.
I do have a full video breaking down this entire update, so I'll leave that link down in the video description. So beyond that, etaHEN was also recently open sourced
So
by
it says here,
etaHEN is officially open source under a GPLv3 license.
However, to deter bad actors from changing a few strings,
Recompiling.
the CMake list needed to build etaHEN will not be provided.
This ensures people can learn and use code from it without
credits.
it being stolen. So there's always a debate around whether
Should
or
be
not
open
these
sourced
projects
or
closed sourced by different
Open
developers
source is great, of
because
course.
other people can learn from the source code and implement stuff into their own
So that they
projects.
can
develop their own stuff faster.
And
generally, of course, we can get other developers coming in to improve etaHEN in different ways, so we can get faster and more developments more frequently, which is definitely handy. But then on the downside, you do get people, of course, stealing the source code and uploading it and changing the credits to claim that they created it, or using stuff from it all in their own projects, not disclosing it, and claiming credit for a lot of the developments that are not actually theirs. So you get these kind of problems,
Especially
the bad ones, where you can get people taking the code and modifying it, and in ways where it's unstable, and could cause damage to people's consoles, which we've seen before with certain projects on the PS4 in the past. So it's always kind of a double-edged sword. But hopefully this will be a positive development here for etaHEN. So beyond that, we also, of course, have an update to the Blu-ray exploit for the PS5 from Victorious X, the PS5 BD Jailbreak, which works up to 7.61. So this version includes timing changes. So we've got timings changed between payloads for better stability. It's also updated etaHEN to version
The latest
PS5 debugs included with 7.xx
The latest ELF
loaders also been added. And then we also, of course,
The
have
web
server payload. And FTP payloads have also been updated. If you're using the Blu-ray exploit to jailbreak
And of
the
course,
console,
the
latest version of etaHEN has also been
In the
updated.
web
browser version of the
As
exploit. Well,
well,
if you're using IdleSauce's version with the UMTX to exploit. So that has also been added there anyway. That's gonna do it here for this news
So hope
update.
you
guys enjoyed this one or found the
If you
information
did, please
useful.
leave
a like and subscribe, and as always,